Wow. Joining us now, Dr. Vin Gupta. He's a pulmonologist who has treated critically ill coronavirus patients in Washington state. He's also an NBC News medical contributor. I have a few kind of rapid fire questions for you. First of all, today, if school is reopening in Florida, do you think it would be a good idea for kids to go back to school?
Absolutely not. Totally super spreader event. Not safe, Mika.
That would be a super spreader event to send kids to school. Okay. So Florida has obviously made some records over the past 24 hours. Where is this heading? What do these numbers tell us?
Floridians are going to die, Mika. That's where this is headed. We have 6 hospitals in Miami-Dade that are filled up, 40 ICUs across the state. Walt Disney World has decided to open up. It's not hard to predict where this is headed. It's to badness because they have no state-level leadership.
So what would you suggest that Florida do in a situation like this to bring these numbers down? And if all your suggestions were carried out, how long would that take?
It's going to take about 3 weeks, Mika. This is what I would suggest. I would beg the President of the United States to federalize a military response. I'm a CCAT ICU doc in the U.S. Reserves. We're just sitting here. There's 30 of our teams that are just sitting here, but the U.S. taxpayer pays, what, billions of dollars to sustain military assets that we use readily for Ebola? We're not using it now. National Guard. DeSantis has control over that. Let's start building portable ICUs and other portable hospitals in areas of need. He doesn't want to do it because doing so would be an admission of guilt. Enforcement of a masking policy statewide, not just in localities like Miami-Dade. Give your county officials an assist. Enforce something here that we know can work. Finally, I would make sure that indoor dining, indoor bars done for the time being. My gosh, Louisiana, there's some common sense in the region, but not in Florida. It doesn't make any sense. Those are where places I would focus on and start, Mika.
So to me, what you're saying is frighteningly obvious, to take Casey Hunt's term throughout the entire show today. It's frighteningly obvious that there are mitigation techniques that have not happened because of the leadership in Florida and also the president's leadership. You are calling for a federalized response. I mean, there's been a call for a federalized response for testing since this began. The president refuses. And can you give us an update in terms of what is happening? What are you hearing about what is happening with testing in places like Florida, where they are having hot spots, where there are surges in numbers? Because now I'm hearing there's confusion with testing and also delays.
That's that last part, Mika, that I want to double click on, that delays. We are still nationwide, especially though in Florida, where there's bottlenecks on just supplies. Remember April when we couldn't get enough reagents and swabs? Mm-hmm. Same thing's happening now. That test delay is critical. It's now 5 to 7 days. In some cases, I've heard friends, 21 days. Makes contact tracing, Mika, virtually useless. But that's where we're at in this day and age. And I just want to comment, Secretary DeVoe, sitting here on the Sunday news talk show saying, hey, we got to restart schools, couldn't state a lick of evidence to save her life. The secretary is sitting here making an analogy to what they do in the private sector, what professional organizations do, MLB, NBA. You know what they do, Mika? They actually have testing. They have point-of-care testing capabilities. You come in, you get a test, within 30 minutes you get a response. Are they going to fund that? Is she going to lead? Are Republicans in Congress going to fund it? Democrats have said, let's fund to the tune of $1.8 million, all 13,000 school districts. Let's give them what they need. School districts need money to test, to build in the infrastructure, to actually safely socially distance. That's what is needed, money and testing.
Okay, so just really quickly, it is mid-August that a lot of kids in Florida go to school. If the situation hasn't gotten better, let's hope it doesn't get worse, but I don't know what is worse at this point. It's breaking records. It's worse than New York, the numbers at this point. What would happen if kids went back to school? Maybe you could explain it.
You bet. Here's the thing, and this is one of the key parts of that interview with the secretary, with rising infection rates. We're seeing a positive infection rate in Florida approaching 20%. So to say this really quickly, what's going to happen is you're going to have kids. We have no idea what's going to happen, but we think kids still have the ability to transmit the disease to teachers, to parents, amongst themselves. You're going to have an out of control super spreader event because the infection rate in the community is so high. The only places where schools potentially could reopen, where testing is potentially not as available, are in places where we have the outbreak under control. A positive infection rate of 3% or less. Not when it's nearly 1 in 5, 1 in 3 in places like Miami. It makes no sense. It's criminal malpractice there.